Good afternoon. I'm Tim Clark, and welcome to Gasville Marketplace.
The following is a video podcast promotional marketing presentation. Gasville Marketplace serves solely as an advertising venue for seller vehicles and does not negotiate, represent, or sell vehicles. See website for details. And now, here's your host, Tim Clark.
Well, good morning, and welcome to today's Gasville Marketplace video podcast. Joining us today is Gary from Phoenix, Arizona, who's got a beautiful for sale by owner Chevy El Camino. Welcome, Gary.
Yes, thanks for having me today.
You bet. So Gary's got this beautiful 1970 Chevy El Camino for sale, and I've got all of his photos loaded up. But first, Gary, can you tell us some history on the car? Like, how long have you owned it? Where did you buy it from? Who did the restoration? Just a little bit of background on the car.
Sure, happy to. So I bought this car, when I was looking for an El Camino, I wanted one that was rust-free. I live in Arizona, so I know that there's a lot of good cars here. So I looked primarily here. Found this El Camino. It had been restored about 4 years before I picked it up. And very clean. Everything about it was what I was looking for. What do you call them? The rocker panels, the area where the spare tire goes, the rear window, the common areas where they rust and where they have issues was really in good shape, all original. The car was professionally restored and painted. And then when I picked up the car, so I've owned it about 2 years, so it's on 6 years on the restoration. I thought maybe I should change the tires and do some updates. So I've done things like that to keep it safe.
And do you have any idea where the car spent most of its life before you bought it?
Actually, it was here in Phoenix the whole time, and the dealership is still in existence. So it's really, really cool. It's got some great history as far as a local Arizona car.
And you know what? There's nothing better than an Arizona desert car. Tell our viewers why that is.
Well, what it does is it's dry and not moist. It's not humid here at all. We do get about a 1 week period of humidity, but it's so minor that the cars stay in really good condition. Coming from New England and seeing what happens there, I was shocked at how clean these cars can be. So This is an original Arizona car, and it had all those features of a dry, clean, straight vehicle.
Before we get into specifics, just tell us a general overview about the car. Don't go too detailed, but just tell us, okay, what engine, transmission, and convenience features it has.
Sure. So you can see the color is a butternut yellow. That's the original color. It has a 350 with the 265 horsepower, 4-barrel. It is an automatic transmission. There were other upgrades on the car. Air conditioning was the big one. Power steering, power brakes. It has the disc brakes up front and the drum brakes in the back. So I like that it's got good stopping power as well.
Mm-hmm. So tell us, I know it's an Arizona desert car, but door dings, things like that happen no matter where the car is located. So tell us about the condition of the body, sheet metal, and the condition of the paint.
Talking to the original, the owner that I bought it from, he told me that the car didn't have any body damage. And so that was nice. When you look at the paint and the body down the side panels, it's nice and straight. You can tell there's no creases or anything. The paint was professionally done by a local shop here in Phoenix, and I had the paperwork for that. There's no dirt in it. There's no fish eyes, none of those paint issues that you sometimes see. There are a couple of issues since I've owned it because I've driven it a little bit. I've owned it for 2 years. And so I have a picture showing a chip on the hood. There's a crease in the trim, but otherwise it's really, really nice.
Well, that sounds great. Well, let's move on to the interior. It looks like this might be, I'm not sure what the exact color is, but maybe I used to call it saddle, like for a Corvette, but it looks like nice interior that would match the color of the paint.
Yes, you're right. Saddle, or some people call it camel, beige. But yeah, it's all the original color scheme. The dash, as you can see, is really nice, no cracks. The steering wheel is original. I kept that. There is a small crack. I just like original things, so I didn't have an issue with the crack. You can see the dash is in really good shape. I added an aftermarket stereo. You can see that. You can see the AC vents are original because the car did come with AC.
Okay, great. Couple more photos here. Looks like the door panels are really nice. I don't see any rips or tears or stains or anything like that.
No.
And some storage space behind the seats and another door panel.
Yep.
Nice looking interior. Now, I don't see a spare or jack. Now, do you have a spare and jack for the car?
I do. You've got a good eye, Tim. But yeah, it's missing the spare and jack from the car. I do have it, and the tire is actually in good shape, and that will come with the car.
Great. All right, now here we are at the engine compartment. Tell us all about the engine, whether it's, a crate engine or a replacement engine or original. Has it been rebuilt? Expand on the engine and the engine compartment.
Yes, no problem. So for me, it's really important that it has the original motor. This is the original motor that came with the car. It's low mileage, didn't need to be rebuilt, had good compression. The seals and things that would leak have all been replaced so that you've got a car that you can park on your driveway. Look at the hoses, the radiator hoses, the AC hoses. You can see it's all been restored. Everything's new there. You can see the power brake boosters clean. The air conditioning is factory. It's in the factory position. If you look at the air conditioning hoses, they're all routed the way they would have been from the factory. It's another good indicator. You can see the clamp on the fender there. That's the way the car would have come from the factory, and that's the way I wanted it. I wanted it as original as possible.
Now, with all the positive attributes about, the Arizona desert, let's be frank, it does get really, really hot there in the summer. And I think I noticed that this car still has the mechanical puller fan for the radiator and actually for the air conditioning. So the point I'm getting to is in the summer, when it's really hot, can you drive this car? Does the engine overheat and does the air conditioner still blow cold air?
So that's a good question to ask because, yes, it gets over 120 degrees here. That radiator's been flushed and cleaned, and it's a heavy duty, oversized. It came from the factory to handle the air conditioner. I last drove it down to Tucson and back, and that was about a 3-hour trip. And I had the air conditioning on. It was around 115 degrees that day, and the temperature gauge stayed nice and cool. Around town, it does well. Never seems to get hot. I've never had it overheat. And the car is easy to start. Pump it a couple of times, it fires right up.
Well, that's great. Let's move on to the under chassis. It looks like a 12-bolt rear end here.
It is, yep. I also want you to notice those brake lines have all been replaced, and they're nicely routed. The dual exhaust that you can see is all new, the shocks. I have another picture here, I think, showing the coil springs. Those you can see are new. The bushings in the front end and the rear end were all changed. Kind of hard to see here in the back, but you can tell that everything is nice and shiny. Still has the stickers and decals. This is actually showing the body mount on the car. Not sure if it was a frame off restoration, but they at least lifted the body off and put new bushings. You can see there's no cracks or wear here that you would normally see from a car from the 70s.
Yep. Yeah, it just looks really nice and clean. Here's another shot of a coil spring and the exhaust. Looks like maybe even the drive shaft could have been at least repainted or replaced. And the exhaust looks nice and clean as well.
Yeah. So this restoration is now 6 years old, and this is a current picture. So you can see that I don't really take it out in bad weather, but still there's no signs of rust poking through after 6 years. So it was very well done. Now is when you would start to see issues if there was any.
Mm-hmm. What are we looking at here? Is this the frame for the car?
Yeah, part of the frame system. The nice thing is it's really clean. It's been repainted. The rocker panel is also in view here, and that's what I was going for when I took this picture. Shows you that it's all rust-free and nice paint coat on it. If you look over at the floor is all smooth and nice clean paint. It's really, really nice underneath and clean.
Great. Now, no car is perfect. And I think you and I talked about this earlier off camera. There's a couple of imperfections in the body. You already mentioned the little tiny crack in the steering wheel, but just tell us, because people, buy these, they travel a long distance. So just tell them about imperfections in the car.
Yeah, we want to be honest for sure. So what I'm pointing at here is a little ding in the front of the hood. I do drive it. It's not sitting in my garage. I drive it because I enjoy it. And this ding, happened here somewhere around town. It's very clean otherwise. And then there's a crease on the left rear quarter, just on the trim. You can see that. I'm pointing to the crease. Notice that the body and the rockers and everything are very smooth. There's no signs of bubbling or any kind of paint issues happening.
Okay. So as a little bit of a recap, there's a little tiny like hairline crack in the steering wheel, a little touched up paint chip in the hood, and a little ding in the trim. You know what? For a driver, that's an extremely good condition.
Yep, it is.
What are we looking at here?
So this is really neat. So when the restoration was done, this is the build sheet was found. And the nice thing about the build sheet is it shows you the details of the car when it was built, including the fact that it had the factory air conditioning and the engine, the aftermarket features that people might have added to the car, like the 12-bolt rear end that you mentioned earlier. And that will come with the car.
Okay, great. So we're going to talk about what comes, with a car as far as papers in a minute, but tell us about the car, the drive, the experience of driving the car. Does it pull left or right? Does it brake straight? Tell us about the condition of driving.
Yeah, so I mentioned it, a couple of pumps of the gas and it'll start right up. The transmission engages as it should. It's nice and smooth. It shifts smoothly. No hard or harsh shifts. The good thing about how it handles down the road is it goes down the road straight. I did have a little pull to one side. I had that adjusted. It was in the brakes. So now when you let go of the wheel, it'll go straight. And then when you apply the brakes, it will continue to go straight. It doesn't pull or drift. So very nice to drive. It has that power steering and brakes. So it's a lot like a modern car. You can drive it anywhere and be comfortable.
Okay. What about the exterior lighting system, as far as safety, and some states still require inspections? Will the car pass an inspection? Do the lights work and everything?
Yes, all the lights work, high and low beam, the turn signals, those lights that are in the corners of the front fenders, those all work, front and rear. The El Camino had a lot of little trim lights on it, and they all work. I'm very meticulous about that, so I check it often. The horn was intermittent the other day, so I'm going to look into that and see if I can't make sure that's working well for you in case they do have a safety inspection.
Great. All right. So tell us about the title for the car. Is it a clean title or is there a lien in it? What state is it titled in? Is it titled in your name? Tell us about the title.
Sure. Yeah, the title is put in my name because I've been driving it, as I mentioned, for a couple of years now. I have... let me back up. In Arizona, they have rebuilt and restored titles. It's not that. It doesn't have that at all. It has the original clean title, as we call it here. So it could be registered in any state.
Okay. And would you allow a prospective buyer to come to you and inspect the car, for their purchase, or would you allow a professional inspection?
Definitely. I would encourage that. If you can't make it down yourself, hire someone to come do it. You'll really get a lot of information about the car. You'll see that what those pictures are showing you are true, and that's the condition of the car today. I'm not trying to hide anything here. It's a beautiful car, and I would encourage that.
Great. So what about restoration papers? Now you mentioned, the build sheet's going to go with the car. When you bought the car, did any kind of restoration papers come with the car? And if so, do they go to the next owner?
Yes. So the guy that I bought it from had a lot of paperwork. He was very meticulous about that. So I have all that in a file. I have receipts for the stuff that I've done, the tires and the aftermarket radio that I had put in, the oil changes and all those things like that. All the receipts that I have go with the car, including that build sheet.
Okay, great. Well, Gary, any closing comments about the car?
If you want a clean, rust-free vehicle, one that drives and handles well, this is really the car. It's original in appearance. It's the correct colors. It's the correct interior. It's got all the correct features on the car still. Nothing's been removed and everything works. So it really is a nice car and should be kept that way and driven and enjoyed.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us today, Gary. And prospective buyers can contact Gary directly by referring to his contact information in the ad. And for those who may be interested in our marketing services, be sure to go to gasvilleusa.com, then click Gasville Marketplace for more information.
The preceding has been a video podcast promotional marketing presentation. Gasville Marketplace is compensated for the promotion of seller vehicles and acts only as an advertising venue and does not negotiate, represent, or offer vehicles for sale. All information presented through Gasville Marketplace is provided to the best of our knowledge and is based on details supplied by the current vehicle owner or agent. Gasville Marketplace does not warrant or guarantee the accuracy of completeness of this information. Potential buyers are solely responsible for verifying the accuracy of all facts, information, and representations. Buyers are strongly encouraged to contact the vehicle owner or agent directly for clarification, additional details, or further inquiries, and to either personally inspect the vehicle or arrange a professional vehicle inspection prior to purchase. See website for details. Gasville Marketplace is a registered fictitious name of Timothy and Arlene Clark, LLC, an Arkansas limited liability company.